Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously powerful blueprint for mental toughness. We're going to take a deep dive into some inspiring source material that outlines a 30-day journey of preparation. And we're literally mapping that journey right onto the grueling stages of climbing a massive, unforgiving mountain. So if you've ever felt like your goals were just towering over you like a Himalayan peak, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get right into exactly how we build that mental endurance required to actually reach the top.
I want to start off today by having you visualize something with me. Imagine we're standing together right at the base of this towering peak. Think back to a month ago. That mountain probably seemed completely, utterly impossible to climb, right? But 30 days ago, you made a fundamental decision. You made a choice to become stronger, smarter, more disciplined, and honestly, just more focused. This explainer isn't about absorbing just another abstract lesson. It's really about synthesizing everything you've learned into one cohesive perspective, the ultimate success mindset.
And looking at this timeline, it brilliantly illustrates the trajectory of the author's 30-day framework. It really shows us how greatness isn't built overnight, but rather one single deliberate step at a time. We go from that initial fired-up enthusiasm of day 1, straight into the grueling reality of the struggle around day 15, all the way to the eventual triumph on day 30. And you know, life works exactly the same way. The mountain doesn't change you in a single flash of lightning. Every single step, every single day, that's what actually builds greatness.
Okay, so let's move into stage 1, the daily decision.
Our text argues that success isn't something you just randomly find lying around like a winning lottery ticket. It's something you have to actively, consciously choose every single morning when you wake up. The author draws a super stark dichotomy here. To move upward, you must deliberately choose discipline over making excuses. Seriously, every morning you're faced with this fork in the road. One path is incredibly easy, paved with all these neat rationalizations about why you can totally skip the work today. The other path, well, that one requires discipline. And choosing discipline over laziness is the daily micro-decision that absolutely shapes your future. Building right on that, it's also a necessary daily choice to prioritize action over fear and growth over comfort. Our source material highlights this as a continuous, active battle. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. I mean, neuroscience actually tells us our brains are hardwired to prefer the familiar over the unknown, just to keep us safe. So when you look up at the sheer cliff faces of your goals, your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, triggers fear. It's just a totally natural biological response. But the successful mindset chooses action anyway, pushing through that initial discomfort, because these tiny daily choices literally stack up to shape your entire reality.
All right, moving on to stage 2, guarding your mind.
So as we climb higher up this metaphorical mountain, the air gets thinner and the mental game gets infinitely tougher. The day your life really starts changing is the day you just stop blaming. You absolutely have to drop the baggage. Stop blaming your past, stop blaming your current circumstances, and for sure stop blaming bad luck. Instead, you need to anchor yourself entirely to the things you actually control: your attitude, your effort, and your decisions. That is where real power begins. I just love how the author frames this, because when you drop that dead weight of excuses, your climb suddenly becomes so much lighter.
It's funny. I think we all have those moments where we secretly believe we've got the whole shebang figured out. But the text reminds us that adopting the mindset of a lifelong student is what truly separates the good from the great. Think about it. The most successful people in the world are constantly reading, learning, practicing, and asking questions. They stay fiercely curious. Why? Because continuous learning and growth have absolutely no finish line. The second your ego convinces you that you know everything, well, you've essentially stopped climbing.
Now, this sequence is an incredible blueprint laid out in the text, visualizing exactly how the information you consume shapes your life. Just look at the cascading effect here. It starts with your thoughts. You have to be incredibly careful what you allow into your mind, choosing books over gossip or hope over fear, because those thoughts, they inevitably become your words. Your words then become your actions become your habits, and finally, those habits solidify into your entire destiny. It's pretty fascinating to see it mapped out like this. Your mindset literally creates your reality, domino by domino.
Which brings us to stage 3, pushing through hardship.
Okay, now we reach the crux of the mountain. This is the steepest, most unforgiving part of the climb, where that initial motivation from day 1 has completely worn off, and the summit is absolutely nowhere in sight. This right here is the make-or-break point for anyone pursuing a major goal. As the author notes, anyone can work when life is easy, right? But true champions are forged when hardship hits and these critical internal shifts take over.
When your motivation completely disappears, well, discipline just has to take the wheel. When fear appears, courage must step forward. And when failure happens, because let's be real, it definitely will, resilience is what stands up, dusts itself off, and keeps climbing.
Let's just pause for a second and let this profound wisdom from the text sink in. Your greatest victories will come after your hardest moments. This is the exact moment on the mountain where you must absolutely refuse to quit. When your muscles are screaming and your mind is just begging you to turn around, you have to remember that the most spectacular views only come after the most brutal ascents.
And finally, stage 4, reaching the summit. With a massive surge of energy, we crest the peak. We finally arrived at the summit of our 30-day journey. But you know, the really profound shift in perspective here is that the true reward of this entire ascent isn't a trophy or some fancy certificate. The real prize is looking back down the mountain and realizing that all those daily struggles, the pain, the absolute discipline, those are exactly the elements that transformed you. You don't just chase success, you literally become someone who naturally attracts it.
By becoming honest, disciplined, kind, consistent, and fearless, you realize a fundamental truth. You have become stronger than your excuses. You're braver than your fears, smarter than your doubts, and honestly, far more capable than you ever even imagined 30 days ago. Your past doesn't define you, and your circumstances definitely don't limit you.
Our source material points out that completing this grueling climb is not actually the finish line. It's really just the starting line of your new life. So I want to leave you with this. Now that you've built the ultimate success mindset, now that you've climbed the mountain and transformed into this highly disciplined, resilient person, what decisions are you going to make today to write your best chapter? How will you use this mindset to step forward and show the world the absolute best version of you? The journey definitely doesn't end here, so go out there and make it happen.